Good morning or good afternoon, and welcome to my streaming program or event or whatever you might like to call it. But let's just say it's an adventure into painting, and I'm going to do a painting for you today. Now this will be geared mostly to, say, the Australian market, but those of you in America who can't go to bed or can't snooze properly, well, welcome to another event anyhow, another show from me. It's not really a show, it's just sort of joining me at my easel, and it's a very humble one at that. Nothing fancy about my studio, nothing fancy about my brushes or any of my equipment either. Those of you who have been following me know that I work nuts and bolts. This is nuts and bolts painting, warts and all right? There's nothing that I'm going to skip over and hide from you. You'll see everything that I do, including drinking water. So, first up, let me just mention that the painting I finished the other day, the beach painting, is up for auction at the moment. So if you're interested in getting that painting, and here it is here, then go ahead, go into the Facebook site, and you'll see it's been posted up there, and there's a link that takes you over to the auction site. All right, and look, this is not just a painting to sell. This is really a painting for someone who has been following me and really wants to understand the process of painting and the end result of that process. It's good and well to watch me as I go through, and watch anyone as they unfold with their skill towards a final painting, towards a final conclusion. But the actual evidence of how it's been done, the evidence of the brush strokes, the evidence of the tones, the evidence of the detail, the evidence of the combination balance, the evidence of all the ingredients that make the painting work or not work is in the final painting. Okay, so I can't stress this enough. It's a little bit like looking at a car in a nice brochure. It all looks fancy there, but until you actually sit in it and drive it, you don't know how it really works or what's really going on, how well it's engineered or not engineered. Okay, so the final proof of something is in the product at the end. Okay, so those of you who are interested in seeing the end result, what really happens in here, right? How did I finish the splashing water? What is the value and the colour, the real colour in here in the shadow line? Right? Where did that come from? Right? And why is it so intense or not intense? How did I actually do the drop highlights on here? Did I gradually sneak into the highlight on the hair? Is there just one line up there or a number of small dots? Okay, because I finished this off camera the other day, and there wasn't that much I did. I put a few more birds in and detailed up the front here because this is left fairly raw. But you'll see here that there's impasto. There's thick pieces of paint and there's thin pieces of paint that are sitting underneath that. So this painting here, the same as the other one, just like go and get that, and I'll come back to you. The same as this one here. This was the first one we did, and I finished a little bit of this one only yesterday. I put some dots in here, some little clicks of light, right, to energise those areas and to bring balance into it. I've got a strong seagull here, and so I accentuated some more dots and dashes over here to tune it in, to get the fulcrum right, so there's a balance, there's an equal distribution of weight in the painting. So each painting is a demonstration of 40 years of skill, 40 years of painting. And you could, if you had this, you're quite at liberty and quite welcome to ask me questions. Why did you put the emphasis over here, Bob? Or what's the point of putting a puff of cloud over here? What purpose does that serve? Right? This one, Anne-Marie has taken that one. She said after I finished it the other day, can I have that? I said, yeah, go ahead and buy it. And she made an offer, and I said, that'll do. Well, I'm not looking to make money. I'm really looking to help people learn to paint. So this has got the same sort of sense of reasoning behind it. So there's reasons for a seagull here. Why did I not just leave those two? Because the concentration of the two people's activities is over here. So what was the point of this seagull here? So if you had this painting and you look at it and you had, say, a group of people, you could start to reverse engineer this painting, and I'd be happy to try and explain what I did and why I did it. All right, and that's really getting to the essence of the mental process that I'm engaged in. And sometimes we need to put the blowtorch on the artist to try and find out, why did he do that? As long as I'm just talking to you while I'm painting, I'm really not answering the questions that you might have sitting in the back of your head. And maybe those questions are the ones that you should be asking me, but maybe they don't come to you instantly. Maybe they'll come to you once you sit down and with a group of people, or with your husband or your wife or a group of other art friends, and try and rip this painting to pieces. Try and work out what was going on inside his head when he put that seagull just there. Or what was going on inside his head when he moved that piece of masking tape down here. Or what is the importance of this reflection here? Why is it so dark? Why is it just brown and not the colours of the dress? So there's questions in there which anyone should ask of the person who created the piece. And that's the way you find out. That's the way you work out the structure and the reasoning behind something. All right. So this one is.
Do you want to say it ends in 45 minutes?
Yeah. The auction ends in 45 minutes. So you've got 45 minutes to either have a look at it and try and make a bid on it or whatever. I don't know what it's up to now. It's about 180 or something, I think. So we're going to leave that up there for the moment, and we're going to do a painting.
I got a question from Tom Ignetti.
Yes, Tom.
Do you envision these images before you take reference, or does the reference guide you? Photos?
Do I visualise the end result?
Do you envision these images before you take reference photos, or does the reference?
Oh, I see. Yeah. No, Tom. What I do is to explain to you now is I'll go through my photographs. Right. I take two types of photographs. Very rarely do you find one photograph that is a painting. Maybe 1 in 1,000 like that, because each shot is calibrated to achieve a certain role. Is calibrated to perform a certain role in my head, right? So I look for to create a photograph of the scene, right? So this one is of a scene I'm going to do now. Now you may have seen that setting in other works that I've done, but now how I did that? I took my camera and I walked around. And I had a set, and I just walked around with my camera locked to my head like this, trying to find a little composition, a little setting, a little scene that had sort of energy and had sort of a drive to it, a uniqueness to it. And I'll move the zoom in and out till I get something that works. I'll say, and I'll move around one little spot maybe for 20 minutes. From this side to that side to that side to that side, because there'd be something magical in what I'm seeing with my raw eye when I came into that area. And one side, whatever it may be, it might be a tree juxtaposed with a pond, juxtaposed with a bank, it doesn't matter. There'll be something that's magical, that draws my eye. Now, in this one, it was obviously blue and yellow and green. It's a combination of colours, but look at the structure. Right? So this is a reference photo that energises my imagination. And I've got quite a few of those. I'll go out just on a trip just to get setting photographs. I'm not interested in models, not interested in figures yet. They come later on. So then I'll look at say, getting a photograph of the figures. Right? So the actual painting the inspiration for the painting will come initially from this one. The actual storyline is the next part of the thinking. So that's how I'm engineering the painting in my head. I don't have a preconceived notion or idea or image in my head about what it's going to be. as a final product, as a final result. I have a series of steps. This one first. Find a setting that you like, Bob. And I say to everyone, if you were here, if there's a group of you, I'd have you all with a little editing square in your head, right? Little frame. And we'd walk around and I'd say, now follow me, we're going to find something. And within 20 metres of here, I could find maybe 20 paintings. And that's not just according to the light. Right now it's about 11 o'clock here, right? So I'll find some pretty good stuff. But by 12 o'clock, the colour's gone. As you know, if you're in Australia, the colour drains out very severely and very quickly as the sun climbs into the sky. So we in Australia, we approach the setting part of building a reference library at around about 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning and about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. That's when the sun is dropping down and we're starting to pull the colour out of things. We're starting to get the light to shaft in and to create edges rather than bleed out and soak out the colour. So that's the answer to that question. No preconceived notion, find a setting, but then what I said there, I could go on for maybe 5 hours and explain that to you. That's the beauty of being with an artist. If someone was here, you'd say, well, can you show me how you actually do that, Bob? Yes, sure. Come with me and we'll have a look. Come with me, let's make a little square like this, right? And I'll look through that and we'll go and find a little place where we've got some magic. And you'd come with me and we'd find them. I'd say, look, can you see that down there? Can you see the light coming down there and how that colour there is hitting against the other colour? And how energetic that is? Right. Okay, so that's what I do. Now, I'm going to put up a canvas and let's do that. Let's make something happen. This is going to be a vertical painting, and I love doing vertical paintings. Now I'm going to get another brush. Here's my pastry brush. It comes wrapped up. I'll just take the wrapping off it. Oh, there's a new one. Let me show you that. There it is. What's that say on there? It's made in China, wherever it is.
Quality from China.
That says quality. Well, I'm not sure about any of that. Anyhow, that's what it says. Whether you can get that, I don't know.
It's a 1-inch bristle.
It's a 1-inch bristle brush, and it's not expensive. I don't think they're about 80 cents or something. And now I'm going to just paint in. I've got some blue here. Those of you, I'll go over it again, those of you who have been following me know that I use certain colours. Well, here we go. This is cobalt blue. And I squeeze a bit of that down there. Light red. This is the other mother colour. So we have 3 basic colours that we lay our painting that hold it together. But I might depart from that today, and yellow ochre. So we've got cobalt blue, light red and yellow ochre. Now you can interchange these, of course, with, say, Indian red. There's your yellow ochre, with, say, Indian red, raw sienna for the yellow ochre, and, say, ultramarine blue for the cobalt. So you can interchange, or cerulean blue. Now, you can see that photo was taken with a little bit of thought because it's balanced. The structure seems to be right. There's lines coming into a point here. Right. So I did walk around that scene and I took maybe 20 photographs to get that one. So again, I'm stressing the importance of thinking your way to an end, thinking your way to a potential painting. Use the camera as a tool, as an engineering tool, as part of your process. Okay. Well, what am I going to do? I'm going to just mix a bit of blue. I've got no white there. Let me get some white. Now this is titanium white. And the whites that I use are a soft white. A soft white. Now they're not... Every manufacturer doesn't make a soft white. They make a white, right? Like a titanium white, but they can be pasty. Now that's good if you're laying in pasto, but if you're not laying in pasto, as a first up, you need something that's soft, that's easy to mix, and that can go on. Now look at that. I've just mixed without, while I'm talking away, I've just mixed a colour which is almost identical to this colour. Not to that up in there and not to that down there, but to the general colour. So that's my first step. So over we go, and I'm going to put a figure in here somewhere, moving into this area. So I'll go down like that, and up there. Okay, there we go. So I'm just going to not worry about the nuances, the little shifts in colour or tone. I'm just worried about, I just want to get it down, get it blocked in first. And down the bottom here, we don't move that painting. And down the bottom here, it gets a bit darker, a bit more intense. So what I'll do, I'll show that. But first of all, let's just get it all coloured. Get the blue in there. Now you can see how good this pastry brush is. There we go again. There we go.
Question from Darren Free from London.
Hey, morning Darren in London. How are you? It's a very good morning over there for you.
Do you use straight terps as a thinner, or do you use any oil?
There's a little bit of oil in there, Darryl. There's a little bit of poppy oil. So not much, but just enough to act as a binder. Now I'm going to add a little bit of red to that. There's a little bit of light red into that blue. You can see how that just shifts it a little bit. It warms it up a fraction. So here we go. And I'm slowly bleeding that up, taking that darker, warmed up grey, warmed up blue to the top. And now I'm just doing that. Now I'm going to come down a little bit in a moment. We'll take it up in there. Now, let's make it, up here we've got a lighter part. So I'll go to my blue. I'll mix it over here, another little mixing spot. And make it, just lighten it up, and I'll possibly add a little bit of yellow to it, but let's lighten it up first. That's not very light. There we go again. I've made that a bit thicker. There we go.
Question from Glenys Jones.
Yes, Glenys. Good
from Melbourne.
Good morning, Glenys, and it's good to have you join me. Thank you for tuning in.
What are the toxic paints we need to be aware of, if any? Toxic.
Oh, the toxic ones. Gee, I don't know. I'm still sort of sane after 40 years, so whatever I'm using hasn't affected me mentally, as far as I understand it, Glenys. But I know that there are some have some pretty powerful chemicals in them that aren't really friendly to we humans, both in breathing and in touching and so forth. I know that you do need a good ventilated area when you're using some paints. I don't know which ones really. I don't know, to be quite honest there, but I think they've all got a toxicity rating, so that would be the first guide. And of course you'd steer clear, or you'd ventilate the area more if one has greater toxicity than the other. So I've got an aircon going in here, an air conditioner, and I've got a fan over there, so they just circulate the air and keep me sort of in one piece. But welcome. Now I'm going to go to the next light. The next part, no, I'll do the yellow. I'm going to make this grass here is in pretty strong light. And now what would that colour be? Well, here you can see, where we can see something is where it changes, where it goes from a shadow into the light. And this blurred area here tells us really what these colours are. Then we can look down in here. That's why I say, when you take a photograph for a setting, you're looking to get the information, not just the structure and the forms and the shapes, but as much information as you can. And the camera will give you colours that you can use, but it'll also give you colours you cannot use. All right? So you need to, that's why taking your own photographs is so important. Now,
question from Pamela.
Pamela, good morning.
Are you patting off the paint thinner after you clean your brush?
Am I taking off the paint?
Well, yeah.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I just sort of, no, I didn't wipe that brush then. I didn't wipe it clean. You can see it's still got blue and yellow on it. And I think that's what I do that because it's really a tool to mix. I'm using the brush to mix paint on the canvas as well as down on the palette. But a lot of people don't like it doing it that way, but I do. Now look, see, I've got blue and yellow already. So I've mixed that. I didn't mix it down there, I'm mixing it up here because I've left that residue in the brush. And I'm mixing it on the canvas now. You can see there's more blue in there as I'm pulling it out of there.
Question from Gerald Castro.
Yes, Gerald.
From Colorado. Do you normally start from the foreground like you're doing now?
And welcome from Colorado. It's my favourite spot in America. I stay in Carbondale. About 4 months ago, I was living in Rifle, which is just down valley from Aspen and Glenwood Springs. And I roam around Colorado quite a lot. So if you see someone stuck in the mud up there, speaking with an Australian accent, with a brush stuck in his top pocket, it's possibly me. Now, the question was, do I start with the foreground? I'll either start with the sky or the foreground, but there's no real process there. It's just what seems to dominate first and what seems to dictate the rest of the movements. So here the blue was the one that tells me to climb into the rest of it because there's more work in here than there is down here. So I'll approach it with I can see I'm just laying in a yellow in there, and I'm climbing up to another yellow here. So I'm going from, this is what I do. I'm going from that yellow ochre to this cadmium yellow medium. Right. Now one has got this one here, yellow ochre, it's more of a greyed, muddy yellow. This one has got more of a turbo to it. It's got more of a cleanliness, more of a kink to it. It's more of an upbeat. It's a happy yellow. It's a yellow that you take notice of, right? Whereas this one here, it could sit there and you wouldn't even see it, right? But this one you will see. If you had two signs on the road, one was done with that colour and this one, and another one with that colour, which one would you see? You're going to see this one, of course. So in other words, as I go through a painting, I'll shift from the mother colour into something that's a little bit more dinky. Here we go. Now you see how yellow that really is.
Question from Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, good morning.
From New Orleans.
New Orleans, Jeffrey. Brennan's. Yes.
Any brand of paint that you recommend?
Jeffrey, any artist brand of paint is good. There are a lot of good paints out there, and there really is. I mean, I'm surprised at the range of paint that's available, and that can be half the problem, Jeffrey, too, because if you've got too many mixtures, you can end up with that mud heap that I referred to earlier, right, in a few meetings back. But no, there's no. I'm using Georgian there. I'm using Winsor & Newton. I've got my brands over there, whatever I can get my hands on. But listen, my last time in New Orleans was at Brennan's, where I had the very best gumbo you could possibly have. Graham had it also, and it was absolutely brilliant. Right opposite the courthouse there, in the French section. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. And I'm going to go back there. I said it to one of the judges there, and I met the mayor and so forth, and I said to him, I said, if I wanted to buy a place here, can you get me one? He said, look, Bob, just come here, we'll get you whatever you want. Just come back here. So I'm going to go back there, so you stay in touch and tell me where you are, and I'll have a beer with you, Jeffrey. And I'll bring some paint and show you how to do a painting. There you go, that's a good idea.
I've got a deaf artist, Tracy, just wants to know if you could say hello to her, so just hand wave.
Tracy, welcome, and happy painting. Happy this one.
Question from Lisa Strong. When using multiple photos to create a painting, how do you keep the lighting consistent through the pieces?
Oh, that's a good question, Tracy. That's a very good question. Because every photo, what you're saying is that every photo's got a different ambience, a different sort of degree of light, a different mood to it, because you're taking it at not exactly the same time every day, and maybe there's more cloud cover on some days than others, so you're getting a different light throw on the subject. What do? I'll just bring it into order. When I see that's never really a trouble for me, but it's a good question. What do I do? Well, I adjust. I'll possibly subconsciously see that, and then I'll just integrate it. I'll make the adjustment to the light or to the colour as I integrate. So that's a good question. There's nothing that I think about.
Question from Jenny. Will you have any more paintings up for auction?
Jenny, this one I'm doing now will be up for auction, assuming I finish it. And yeah, I think the main thing here is to use these as demonstration paintings. They're not full-throated gallery paintings. Okay, these are really demonstration. They're nuts and bolts painting, walking you through a simple painting, how I go about it. I can show you. Here's a gallery painting, right? Now, this one, if I try to do that up there, you'll be here for days trying to follow me, and you'd go completely mad. So this is a gallery painting. This one, of course, it'll go into a nice big frame, and then it'll go into a gallery, it'll be under lights and all the rest of it. But it's a different exercise. I can do, what I'm really doing is a series of small cuts, if you know what I mean. That's a big canvas and takes a lot of time and a lot more thinking. But the engineering, the process of thought is identical, all right? There's nothing, so it doesn't matter. Now I'm sneaking something in there which I haven't shown you.
Now, hello from May Baloney.
May, good morning, and I hope everything was well in San Diego. It's a lovely part of the world, and I enjoy San Diego immensely. I particularly like the Dungeness crabs at Vindong and Ranch 99 up on Claremont Mesa Boulevard. And I miss San Diego. It's a lovely part of the world. I lived there for 8 years and I love it. So there we are. So welcome to anyone from San Diego. Now,
one question, Doug. Question from Gary. Have you ever used other mediums like acrylics or watercolours? If so, why don't you use them now?
Gary, my preferred medium is oil. I started with oil. I broke it in, and I stayed with it. I mean, it's like getting in a car, or a horse. If there's one horse here that you have a relationship with, and it results in an enjoyable time, then you tend to stay with that horse. Well, my horse has been oils, and I've had a great relationship with oils. Oils and I get on really well. We've had a long marriage. We've had a few hiccups here and there, but there've been no divorce proceedings. So I haven't moved off to other things like watercolours and acrylics. But I have fiddled with them, but I don't find that as my horse. So there. Now see how I'm turning that brush now to the side a little bit, just to get a bit of a bleed that colour. And I'm rolling it. I'm rolling the brush. See that, how I'm rolling it? Now there's a bit of red came out of there accidentally. They're the good little accidents we want. It comes down here, and there's my photograph. You see what I'm doing? And down I go into here. Now, May in San Diego, May, I didn't finish that painting that I was going to finish with you. Maybe next time I go there I can. I just got caught up in so many things I had to do at the end that I just had to forget about it in order to get to the airport and get out. But when I get back there, I'll possibly do that painting for you. So let's get some more of this paint. I'm out of paint here. There's a little bit of cobalt blue, and I'm going to add a little bit of ceruleum now. Now notice though that these are add-on colours. This is an add-on colour, just like the cadmium yellow was to the, just like that was an add-on colour to this mother colour. So too is this one, ceruleum, an add-on colour to my mother colour. Okay, so I'm not interchanging, I'm just adding to. I'm giving it a little bit more grunt. So I'm going to clean that brush a bit. There's a second clean or third clean. I'll wipe it clean a bit. Now what am I going to do? I'm down here. I want to be in this part here. You can see that it goes with shifting value or tone. Those of you who are seeing me for the first time, I'll use the word value, or I'll interchange it with tone. You're possibly more familiar with, the tone of something. Well, that's a little bit darker there and that's a bit lighter there. Not talking about colour, we're just talking about the shade. So that's a deeper shade there. So I'm going to show a bit of that. How do I do it? A little bit of the blue and a little bit of this red over here. And look at that. I'm going to put a bit of ceruleum in there just to kick it up a little bit. And a little bit more of the red. Now, take that up here and move that. Notice how I'm holding it now, like a trowel.
Question from Katie from Minnesota.
Katie, good morning.
How do you know if you have the quality of a gallery painting when you're done?
That's a good question. Well, sometimes, Katie, you don't actually have a gallery painting when you're done. Sometimes you're just done and it's not good enough. But you don't give up. That's the whole point about painting. Never ever give up. What you've got, if you're finding yourself painting into a corner, in other words, it doesn't seem to be coming out the right way, it's not really what I'm trying to paint. If you've got that problem, then just step back. Walk away from the painting and mentally unravel yourself, right? Don't start burning your brushes. Don't start looking for high things to jump from, okay? The solution is just taking your mind away from it and finding something else to do for a while. Now, many artists want to finish something in the one time. They want to get to the end of the painting, right? And they're anxious to see it work, and I understand that. Of course, we all want to see how good is it going to be. Are people going to like what I'm doing? Am I going to like it? I want to see what happens at the end. I want to get to the highlights. Be patient. Be patient. Work your way slowly towards that. And I've used this analogy many times where a cat tries to catch a mouse. It's not cat walks in the room and goes bang and grabs a mouse. There's a lot of footwork going on there, a lot of thinking going on in that cat's head and in the mouse's head. If it doesn't work in the first snap, he'll reposition and have another crack at it. Right? He'll go back, he'll be patient, he'll watch the mouse, he'll watch the eyes and the movement of the mouse, and he'll be patient. And then he'll work out another way of getting there. You're the same. In painting, it's the same thing. Be patient. If the painting you're doing doesn't seem to hit the standard that you want and you think the gallery expects, then you don't give it to them. You live with that painting longer, and you'll get it right by persevering with it and by spacing your head so that you're approaching it and you're going to address it in a spontaneous, healthy, robust, finishing way. Okay? Back to this. Let me approach this now in a spontaneous, robust, healthy, engineering, whatever I said, way.
Good question from Darren. Would you always advocate standing up to paint for freedom of arm movement rather than sitting down?
Yes, Darren, I totally agree with that. Standing up, painting, those who sit down, unless you've got a disability, then don't. And but my reason for that is quite simple. Now, normally, like Graham's filming me has got the camera on me now, so I don't walk back as much as I normally would. But now, if I'm doing this, at this stage, I will walk back, and I'll walk back 3 metres, or 10 feet, about 10 feet. So back I go, and what should I do? I'm walking back, 1, 2, 3, about three and a half steps. I'm now going to turn. I'm about 10 feet from the painting. And what do? Do I look at it with 2 eyes? No, I don't. This is another key to the process of getting to the end. This is another key to seeing what you're doing. Right? Well, I close one eye, and I do it subconsciously now. I just turn my head, I close one eye, and I squint the other one. And I'm like that, like I've been thumped in the eye with a flying bird, or someone whacked me. And I look through this eye, and I look at and then I squint. And if I can see any distance, any 3-dimension aspect of that painting, because that's on a flat surface, yet I'm trying to achieve something which has perspective. So at the moment, what we have is simply a structure. It's flat. So I haven't done any real stroke work and colour work in terms of values of colour to show a recession in the painting. Now this shot is not looking across. This is a reasonably oblique angle. So the recession is not very much. We don't have a sky and distant mountains, in other words. This is pretty immediate. So the recession is very gentle. Okay, now, back down to here. Now, I'm going to get the darkest dark, and I'm going to put the reflections in of the grass there. And a bit of blue, and it's got a mix there. Okay, here we go. Now I want a bit more blue in there. I've got too much red. And it's thick, there we are. Now, watch how I use that brush. Now this is where we'll do little sticks and reeds later on.
Glennis Jones wants to know if you have any exhibitions planned in Melbourne for the future.
Glennis, no, unfortunately, Melbourne is not in my... The last time I was in Melbourne, Glennis, was when my horse won the Oaks. I had a horse that was Horse of the Year many years ago. It's called Research was its name, and it was a wild mare, and nothing could catch it. It won the Derby in Sydney, it won the Oaks in Melbourne, it won the Oaks in Sydney, and I tried to get a 3-way bet on it winning the Oaks in Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane, and they wouldn't take me on. So the last time I was in Melbourne, I was in a horse carriage going to Flemington Racecourse, and I haven't been back since. But that's not to say that I wouldn't like to go back. I may go back one day.
Question from Pamela.
Morning, Pamela.
She wants to know, do you object to practicing artists using your paintings as an example to paint from?
Pamela,
not really, go for it, yeah.
I say go for it. If you like what I'm doing here, we'll post this photograph on my Facebook site like we did the other ones, right? And I'll post the ones that I use. You just take these, go and get them printed up, go for it. I encourage people just to paint, because paint's a great form of just getting through a day and creating something that other people only imagine they could do. If you've got the time, I'm happy to share what I've got with you all. I am. So, how long have we got for that auction there, Graham, do you know?
Hour.
We've got an hour to go by the looks of it, before that painting here goes off. And this one here will be up for auction as well when I finish it. Now, how are we going with this painting? Does it look all right? I've got a bit of trouble over here. I want to loosen this up here a little bit.
Good question from Harriet.
Harriet?
From Florida.
Oh, from Florida.
Why do you choose photos of your models looking away and not looking at the viewer?
Harriet, that's a good question. And there's a good answer to that. Question is, why do I use photographs of girls looking away rather than at me? Right? There's a reason for that. When you're painting a girl or a figure or something like that, the people who look at it will generally try and relate that to someone they know. Right? For example, if the girl's head is turned slightly to the side, and you just see the side of the face, It can be almost anyone. If the girl's got blonde hair, it could be anyone's sister or mother or daughter or granddaughter or whatever, right? Based on the colour of their hair. Now that's a general aspect about our bodies. Hair is a really powerful identifiable characteristic that we have. But as soon as you turn your face around, you're seeing the structure of the face. You're seeing something that is acutely identifiable. There's precisely that one person. And so if you turn the head around like that and you see the... and it's not... It can't be your granddaughter, it can't be your sister, it can't be your cousin, because it doesn't look like her. But if the hair's yellow, it's a general aspect, and it could be her. So it's a marketing tool that I use to embrace a larger audience. Okay. Now, what should I do now? Clean the brush. Watch this brush now. I'm going to do this. I'm going to push those hairs back. You see that?
Yeah.
And I push those hairs back. Now, why is he doing that? Well, let's have a look and see why he's going to do that. See this sort of broken area where the light and the shade hit around here, particularly in here? Let's see if I can get that. I'm not going to use a lot of little brushes. I'll use one brush. Just get this yellow, and then over to the ceruleum, and I'm going to work it like that. Now look at that brush. I look at that carefully and I say, how is that loaded? Because how it's loaded will tell me how I'm going to push it or pull it to get the effect I want. Okay? It looks like a lot of little brushes. That could be one brush, that could be another one, another one, another one. It looks like maybe there's 5 brushes there. Let's see if I can do something with it. Now let's do another one. Go down. Let's try a little bit more yellow over here, Graham. Come back to the white, and then here again. Now I'm kicking more yellow into it. Now look at it. Okay, now see what I can do with that. Here we go. Just see if I can click it on top of the other one. I'm rolling it now. I'm rolling the brush like that to get to use all those hairs. There's still a bit of paint left on there. Now, okay, that sort of worked a little bit. Well, let's try it even lighter yellow and see if we can pick up something up here. Is this going to work? Is this technique going to work higher up? There's our yellow. Now our white. And again, I stress that this is a soft white. Over we go again. Now let's see if we can do something more.
Jeffrey has a question. Is there a bad time in a painting to stop painting if you have several days of work in between?
Well, I stopped painting when I sort of completed the areas. If I want a break, I've got to go and do something else for 5 days, because I can stop about now. It's fine, because I prefer to do this flick part when this is still wet. If I come back and do it when it's dry, I might have to redo some of this in order to get the colours to hit each other properly. So, yeah, when you think it's about time to...
Question from Stacey Beam from Nashville. How do you stay motivated?
Stacey, I'm motivated simply by, like right now, I love the look of colour going on. And I'm motivated because it seems to be going in the right direction. So if if it's going in the right direction, you keep on going. Now I'm changing my approach. Let me get more white here. And flick this. Let's see if you can see something here. Now I'm starting to get really motivated, and I'm getting quicker. See? Now I'm getting more motivated, and I'm getting quicker again. And this is how I paint. I'm getting more motivated. Here we go, over we go. Here we go. More motivated, and over we go again. Look at that. Look at that. And down we go, and I'm finding now it's starting to work. We've got light popping out everywhere there. How about over here?
Question from Darren.
Yeah. Wow.
Do you always work on white canvases, or do you use a colour ground?
Sometimes I put a ground colour on, Darren. I might put a yellow, or something that's not poppy. I'll use a grey yellow, a grey brown, or something like that. Yeah, that really is a type of mother colour. When you think about it, you're putting down something that is going to pop through the other colours. If they're thin, it'll come through as sort of a glazed look. But oftentimes you see that as a process of holding a painting together. Okay. Now, let's see if we can do that with a bit of grass in here. You can see we're showing some stalks and so forth in there. So I'm going to mix some of the paint again over here.
Question from Julie from California.
Julie, good morning from California.
What's the best way to leave your palette if you have to stop but still have wet paint that you don't want to waste?
Well, other artists, I've seen them use plastic, put plastic over it so that the air doesn't take the oil out and make it go hard. Other artists, they'll put it in water, but I don't know. I just leave it like that. What you see here is what I do. I've got no box of tricks. Now, hang on, let's get a bit more there, Graham. Over here. You seeing that? There we are. Off we go again. Now I'm going to put
question from Josephine and Jeffrey, sort of in the same one.
Josephine and Jeffrey, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you may be.
Josephine's asking, aren't you ruining the brush by pushing the hairs back?
Absolutely, absolutely. This brush, but then you watch, I can use this brush, I'll push the hairs back, but these brushes are about 80 cents in Home Depot. Or it might be, yeah, about 80 cents in Home Dilemma.
Jeffrey wants to know how many paintings will you get out of one pastry?
Out of this brush, I might get 6 paintings out of it.
So is that 10 cents a painting?
10 cents a painting, so that's not bad. Let me get a bit more here. I'm going to grab a little bit more of that and that. And over we go. See that now? See how I'm starting to sit that colour on, and I'm just using that brush. I'm shaping, I'm doing this, I'm twisting and turning, and I'm changing the point of attack all the time. Coming down here, just put it in there. Now you can see it's the grass in the water.
Question from Joanne. What do you think about water-soluble oil paints?
I've tried those, Joanne, and they're quite okay, the water-soluble paints. They're different to work with, but they're not toxic. They're not as good as working in the real oil, but still, no, they're okay. They're okay. I've got a lot of people can't use oil paint because of the smell of oil, the turpentine and so forth, and I need ventilated areas. So water-soluble paints still keep you in the game and still keep the family happy. So yeah, it works.
Jeffrey wants to know, with all the bad junk on TV today, why don't you have your own TV program?
Well, Jeffrey, I did have a TV program, and it was supposed to be an art show, and what it turned out to be was a travel show. And I did it for Discovery Channel. I did 10 episodes, and I went to America. I did one on New Orleans. I did one on the Texas Longhorns. I did one on Yosemite. Then I went to Cambodia, did one on Cambodia, on Angkor Wat. Then the Philippines, I did 2 in the Philippines, and then 3, I think, in Thailand. And then I was going into series 2. I had plans to go to England and then back to America and Canada and other places. But then it sort of went away from painting. It was more of a travel show where I did a painting. But the painting kept on getting smaller. The painting time kept on getting smaller and smaller. But what we should have is an art show geared to artists like I'm doing now. And I'm quite sure that if we had enough people who wanted it, we could do it. I'm not unfamiliar with filming. And Graham's a cinematographer and editor, so he's got a unique skill. He's off to New York shortly to show them how to do it over there. So yeah,
it would be good to have a show where you take photos and you go through the whole process.
Yeah, it'd be good to walk you through the entire event, and maybe that's what we can do. I mean, the technology's there now to perhaps do it. Shortly we'll walk outside, not this time, but we'll go outside and we'll explore and show you how to do the things I'm saying we should be doing. Anyhow, so there we go. All right, so we've got something happening here. I think we've got something happening here. And we'll just put a few strokes down here as we get down the bottom. Now, let's walk back now and have a look and see if we've got any perspective in this. So back I go again, and I encourage you all to do this. We need to create a light source through here where the light's banging in there and then we're coming back the other way. But at the moment, I'm going to walk back my 10 feet. I'm going to squint with one eye, hold one eye shut, and squint with the other one and look at it again. Yeah, that's looking better. We've got some more dimension in there. We've got more nuances of tone. We've got little structures appearing. We've got grass appearing here, stalks of grass and so forth. And all with that one brush. Okay.
We have a few people saying that, yep, they want that show.
Well, I don't know how we're going to...
art show, yeah.
There's a pilot, three pilots I did, which we should put up on the site, Graham, the Let's Go painting ones. And they were sent off to various producers around the world. And they were very, very good shows. I did 3 of them. One on mountain men. It's not the ones on DVD. These are special ones that I've done. And maybe we could put them up on Facebook, a link to them, and you could see them. And you could tell me what you think. The comment was they're a little bit too technical. I had a toolbar down the bottom of the screen, which showed what brush I was using when I was painting, what colour combination I was using when I was painting. And because we don't want to be going through, this is light red, every time I touch light red. We need to just get on with the process. But maybe we can do that. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put in a figure. Now, what am I going to put in here? Looks like I've got a couple of photographs here I could use. I've picked out a couple here. There's a pink dress. No, I don't really like that one. I sort of like this girl. That's a nice pose, that one. And she's sort of looking down. So, yeah, that's more of an oblique, an angle that would fit with that angle there. So these 2 angles are about right. Okay, this one's looking down at about 30 degrees. This one, you'll notice, I haven't gone down on my haunches to take the photograph. I've stood up and I've pointed the camera, and so her head is slightly bigger. But the perspective is about the same for both photographs. We're looking at an oblique angle of about 30 degrees to the horizon. So those 2 will go together. Now, would this one go in there? It would, but not as well. This one has got light coming from the side as well. And we've got a nice bit of clunk of light down there which will anchor it in here somewhere. So I like that. And I like the light up the side here. And the hair, position of the head is looking down. So she's looking in a demure way at something in the water, maybe. Maybe it's a duck. Right. So why don't we do that? Why don't we put that in there somehow? Now remember, I'm going to finish this. For those of you who are watching in Australia, this one I will finish next Friday.
This time next week.
This time next week, I'm sorry. I'll finish this one. So those in America, I'll start a new one, which I'll finish the next time we meet.
Which would be
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday your time. So I'm going to put this one in here. I'm going to put slightly off centre. I want the reflection to come right down. So I want her in the water. I'm going to have her standing in the water about there. So up we come. Top of her head about there.
Question. She might have a point here. Tom, wouldn't you need to flip her to match the light source?
Not necessarily. The light can be coming from the right or the left there, Tom. Okay, keep coming here, clicking here first and spilling up the incline. Or it could be coming down the incline and ending here. So I see this both ways, and I'll engineer it to that effect when I paint this part. So this here might be the real hard yellow, the real hit of light, with more effort in here, more detail in here, and then drifting off up there, which we can do when we paint it, right? So we could flip it, but we don't need. I like the fact that she's looking this way. If I flip it, she'd be looking that way, which means I'd have to put her over here in order to give the storyline some air. Okay, so this way the storyline, she's looking here, and it gives me an opportunity to put a duck or something down here. So the structure and the storyline now tells me where to put things. Okay, as well as these shapes that I've created in here, but they're all coming to this area in here. There's your structure. Right, it's at the top of a pyramid, and so it's naturally got to go there.
Are you dipping your rag in turpentine from Julie?
No, it's just it's just a straight rag.
No, before you wipe it? I think you did dip it in turpentine.
No, I didn't. No, I just wiped it. Now, permanent rose, I'm going to use rose for the dress. Again, I've got a pink dress here, so you obviously are getting the idea that Bob likes pink dresses. Well, I do like pink dresses. I don't actually dress in them myself, but so there we are. A little bit of terps and in there, straight to there, then into there, then into there. A little bit of white, and just put that in there. Let's see how we go. Down we go, and up we go. You see, I've got it very thin. Too thin, but doesn't matter. It'll sort of be right soon. Now, so I'm halfway up here somewhere now. So let's just do the top. I'm trying to find a general colour. I haven't got my glasses on at the moment, so anyway, I don't really need them on yet, but I will in a moment. I'm just looking at the colour, the rough colour there, and the value of that colour. There's a shoulder up there somewhere. And so I've got a little bit of blue and a little bit of that. There we are, a little bit of blue, a bit of white, and now we'll get some pink here, Graham. There we are. Now let's put that up in here. Now that's a bit thicker, that paint there. There's the arm coming out there like that. I'll just put a bit of that in and run a bit in the dress there to try and find that shape a little bit better.
Yeah, Paul, we'll post this photo on the Facebook so you can have a crack at painting it.
That's it. The arms in there somewhere. We're up to the head up there. We don't want to get too high because we don't want to get too high up there. We need a bit of breathing area up the top there. So now I'm going to look through my magnifier. Let's do a bit of reflection down there while we're at it. I've got these colours here. So I'll just run this down in here somewhere.
Question for Mark from New Jersey.
Mark, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you.
Are you thinning the colour before applying it to the dress?
Yes. Yeah. But see, we're just really just blocking in at the moment. These colours will change as we get further on. But I just want to look at the shapes. How are we shaping this up?
Question from Josephine. Do you create a composition before starting a painting?
Not really, Josephine. I've got an idea maybe, but it comes from when I'm picking my photographs out, I'm then sort of anticipating what I'm going to do. So now we've got something we've got a structure there now. We've got shapes that are coming out and we're heading towards the painting. So now on go the testament to my age, and open the eyes up. Now I can actually see what I'm doing, and I'm going to take my magnifier. Questions about that at all, or we just go on? I think let's just lay in a bit of the darks in here, Graham. So now I'm going to put the arms. I'm going to look at some detail in here. Try and get some shapes in there, some more definite shapes. Now there's a hand about there. It goes up like that and up like that. Down here we go. Now those of you who are new to me, that dark there should be a little bit of the cobalt blue and a little bit of the light red. Right, that's our mother colour, and we put that in with the local colour, which is the pink. And that gives us our shadow. So down we go, and we're darkening that now.
Question from Jeffrey. Is there a good way to practice the figures? Do you draw beforehand or strictly use photos?
I used to draw in order to get familiar with the shape, but over the years I don't bother drawing now, I just sort of do it. But I'd encourage you to do a couple of sketches before you actually do it in, so that you don't have to, you've got at least an idea about where things are going to go in the painting.
Paula from Mojave Desert says,
yeah,
your tutorials are helping her use her photos, which is good.
That's good, that's good. Well, that's what the whole idea is, to know how to use photographs. You don't just, they've got to be used in a way that makes sense, that fits into the order of things and the process of things. I'm going to now I'm looking at the local colour of the shawl. You see there's blue there, so I'm going to take a little bit of cerulean blue and a little bit of the mother colour blue and put them together down here. All right? And I'm going to take that up here and then find it.
We have a few people saying they want that magnifying glass as well.
Now,
Eric wants to know what it's used for. He's probably a new viewer. Yeah.
Eric, if you're a new viewer, let me explain something to you very quickly. This magnifier is made out from a water bottle and a lens which I got out of something else, and a plastic frame. And I've taped it together with masking tape. Now, excuse me. This I use to see the detail. This I use to see not just the detail of the line, a line or a dot or an emphasis point, but a detail in terms of tone movement. In terms of movement from, a shadow yellow to the highlight yellow, to the highlight on that yellow. The naked eye will give you perhaps one reading. It simply goes from a yellow, it might go from a shade yellow to a highlight yellow. With this, I'm able to come in and see another 2 or 3 shifts in that yellow. In other words, I climb into the highlight. This makes a difference between a good painting and a bad painting. It's critical, particularly when you're working with photos, because photos do have that information, but you need something to get the information, to find it, to seek it out. In this light here, if I hold it where I am here, I've got some light coming in through the side of the magnifier, through the plastic, onto the photograph. The photograph's held like that. 2 fingers, there's the magnifier with the top 2 fingers and the thumb. I put the photograph in between them, and it's held like that. And I can move it around. It's not heavy, it's light, and then I simply put it to my eye. Now, I'm not looking through my glasses there, I'm looking with my naked eye. So if you wear glasses, you simply calibrate it to fit that one. So it's forgiving. You don't need to have, it doesn't need to be an adjustable dioptic system there. It simply does the job as it is. But I'm able to see through that, the shift. If you look at the hair there, through there, you'll see that we've got highlights in that hair. So it's a brown coloured hair and going into a highlight. But is there a shift from the brown in the shadow to the highlight on the hair yellow? Is there a couple of steps in there? This tells me yes or no. And I find yes, there is. So I sneak up on the highlight. And that makes my painting good. That shows the viewer, for some reason or other, when they look at it, it seems right. It seems real. It doesn't seem pasty. A lot of artists put the highlight on too quickly, too early. They don't sneak up on it. This tells you how to sneak up on it. It tells you how much to sneak up on it and where to sneak up on it and the value of those colours to sneak up on with. So there. So it's a critical tool, and I'm making it after 20 years of making improvised models. I've now designed one. I said I'm going to make it because artists should have this. You really should have it, right? Take the guesswork, minimise the guesswork, and get it right. So we're going to what are we going to do, Gun? Graham,
pre-order it in 3 weeks. Yeah.
In 3 weeks, I'll tell you how you can pre-order this.
Question from Kathy: do you enjoy watching other artists paint? Do you learn from them?
I enjoy watching other artists paint. I had a good mate of mine from Australia over here not long ago, Casey Seeley. Casey, if you're watching, good afternoon, and I hope the nags go well this weekend. But Casey came over here and he did a painting outside for me. I had a bad back then, so I got in a sort of a chair. But I thoroughly enjoyed watching Casey paint because he's a great artist. He's a top artist. He's got a natural ability of painting. He's very tonal, but his structures are good and his execution is good. And it's the first time I really watched someone else paint. And he uses his brushes in a different way to me. He's got a different collection of brushes. His mother colours, let's say mother colours, are different, but they move around according to what he sees and the light condition that he's viewing. So Casey's got a unique talent. He's very professional and very good. He's a good teacher also. So if you have an opportunity looking at Casey Seeley, S-E-A-L-Y, Casey, K-A-S-E-Y, S-E-A-L-Y, top Australian artist. Right? He's got a good book out. He does lessons in Italy in September each year. So have a look at his website, caseyseeley.com, I think it is. And check it out because he's a seriously good guy and a good artist.
Jason Swain.
Jason.
Said he just finished his 100th seagull.
Jason and Annette. Jason, I met in San Diego many years back, and he wanted to paint. And he was doing some exercise on the road, walking, and I was walking the other way, and then how we met, and we became good mates, good buddies. And Jason's over there in Redskin country.
In Maryland.
In Maryland, on the East Coast, and Jason's painting and drawing, and he's right into it now. So, Jason, it's good to talk to you, and welcome to my humble studio, which is not unlike the one I had in San Diego, which is slightly better than a cardboard box. So, Jason, just stay with the painting part. Don't worry about the conditions. You're doing well, mate. Good to talk to you, and all the best to Annette.
Question from Josephine. Instead of using a magnifying glass, wouldn't it be easy to use a tablet so you can zoom quickly for detail? Bulky, the tablets.
Yeah, the tablet. I've tried the tablet, but it's just too bulky. It's heavy, and you're doing this to zoom in and then zoom out, and you've got to hold it. It's heavy. This is light, particularly if you're a girl. This is easy.
And it's consistent with the surrounding light as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, and that's right. You don't have to move it in order to get the light. The ambience here is consistently the same through night and day. So no, it's I've tried it, not as good. Not as good. But that's just for me. You might be able. Might work for you.
Question from Judy. Do you use linseed oil when you paint in your turpentine? Yeah.
Yes, I put a linseed, a bit of poppy oil or something, sump oil from the car, anything will do. Just put something in there to give it a bit of a binder. So, look, I don't profess to know everything about the qualities and properties of paints. I just use paint. If a paint works for me, I use it. If it doesn't work for me, I don't use it. So I'm not a technical person. I'm more of an engineer in terms of how to paint.
Good point by Joanne. She says that photograph's better because when you use a tablet or a laptop, when you zoom in, you see all the pixels and it gets distorted.
Yeah,
you can't see the true highlights then.
That's a good point, Joanne. That's very good. Yeah, it is. So obviously, we're trying to find some way of getting there, aren't we? So we've all got the same problem, really. So I stick. If you go back to Jason knows back in San Diego that I used one back there. If that's correct, Jason, you can confirm that. But at the end of the day, you need some sort of device that'll do this. And this is the best one. It really is. It works.
Jeffrey wants to know how you've got your studio lit up.
Jeffrey, my studio, we have two lights up here. These are daylight neons, and they're not fake. You can see there's my hand there, so I can touch them. I'm 5'6" and 1/100th of a centimetre, and there's another light over here above about head height above the pallet, and that's it. And so I've got a window there which throws light in here, but it's north facing, so the sun doesn't come direct in here, and that's it. So and I've got a nice light, and anywhere I go, I've painted in hotel rooms, all sorts of places, and I just set up. I just find a window, and I'll set up near the window, and off I go. So I'm going to put a bit of a highlight in here, just to try and see where we're going. And just lighten it up a bit there. Now you can see we're starting to get a figure out of there. Let's put a highlight down the side of the dress. We want our rose, there we are. We want some white. I'm going to make this not a thick highlight, but a thin highlight. So I'm going to make it pretty sloppy by adding terps a little bit more. Now there we are, and I'll wipe it a bit. Now, this is not a final highlight by any means, but it's just sort of trying to get our figure where we want it. That comes down to there like that. And then this one comes from there. So we're looking okay so far. Right now, if I add some, let's clean this brush a little bit. I'm going to make an adjustment now. I'm going to tune the background into the figure a little bit more. So we don't overwork one area. We work from one area to another area, trying to balance things, trying to calibrate areas so that they're talking to each other in the right sort of way. So that one highlight is not too dominant unless you're nearing the end of the painting. That's where you start to do your final balancing act, and you're trying to control the message and deliver the message in the best way you can. Don't deliver it so it's sort of half baked. Deliver it so everything in that area, in that enclosed canvas area, is talking. One part should be talking to another part of the painting. One highlight should be balanced with another highlight. One colour should be talking to another colour, whether it be the same in the same family or whether it be a complementary colour. Now what have we got here? In this painting, we've got the ultimate combination of colour. Red, yellow, blue. Right. So this painting has got a natural kick to it. It's got a natural appeal. This is on a wall and it was a big size, someone walking in there, and I've tried this. This will get their attention before anyone else will, because it's got what we see, what we naturally want, what we naturally like. It has. The properties are there. Now then, the other part, the engineering part, has got to be right. Is the figure right? Is the figure well done? Is it positioned correctly? Is the light source consistent? Are the colours? Is there enough shuffling of tone in those colours to give the colours meaning and to make them sing and talk to us? I'll put a bit of a highlight on the head now. How are we going for time, Graham?
14 minutes.
We've got 40 minutes to go. So I want to put a little bit of a highlight here. Now remember, I'm going to finish this painting next time we meet in Australia, which will be next week.
Jeffrey, do you always stand when you paint?
Jeffrey, I always stand when I paint. Yes, I do. That's if you sit, you're rigid. You're not. We can't be sitting because that restricts your movement, restricts your ability to walk back quickly and come back again. Make those engineering moves to those body movements to keep the thing moving along. Back over here again, a little bit more of that white. I want the wrong colour there. I'm going to get blue. So clean that brush. A little bit of blue now. Sorry. Here we go. Now there we go. Okay. Now let's look what I'm going to do here. I'm going to find this highlight down here now.
Got a question here. Fabiola.
Morning, Fabiola.
That your dogs are.
My dogs, Fabi, they're over in the house. I'll bring my dogs over soon and show you all my two dogs. They're Pekingese and they're beautiful little dogs, and I like dogs. Dogs are like people. And so the dogs will come over, but they're in bed at the moment. I can't interrupt. The dogs dominate and they run everything around here. Everything's calibrated to the dogs. Wherever they go, there's got to be a constant alert and supervision. There's more supervision over the dogs than anything else around here. They are completely useless as a hunting animal. If they went out that street there, I'm quite sure the bush chickens would take them on and beat them. So, but they have a proud breeding background in China, and they were known as the emperor's dogs. And the English smuggled a few out back in the 1860s or 1880s and bred from them. Otherwise, they weren't available to anyone other than the emperor. So there's a bit of history about my dogs. And
question from Eric. He
Eric?
wants to know, would you have time to critique a painting if he posts it on your Facebook page? Do you encourage that?
Eric, I try to look. I'd like to be able to respond to everyone in terms of their painting and in terms of what they're doing, but sometimes I just don't have the time. I've got to try and get some painting done. So, and I want to also, before we go any further, I mentioned the other day about an artist friend of mine who I'm supporting greatly. And those of you who've been on my website will see what I'm doing. There's a fishing village down the road from here, and it's just a really nice little cove, little sandy beach in a bigger harbour. And my artist friend here, who comes and helps me prepare canvas and water the garden and do other things, he went down there on New Year's Day and said, I'm going to clean this place up. And he went and bought 100 bags. These bags here, he bought 100 of these, And he went down there, and for 10 days he picked up all this rubbish. There's about 30 years of rubbish. It was an archaeological event, really. He dug through about 3 feet of plastic bags, bottles, caps, old nets, bits of steel, wood, just old rotting rubbish. That was then the beach. I've got some photographs here. I'll come back and I'll show you. Here, look. This is what it looked like. Right? This is some of the bags. And you can see he actually found the sand. But what's so good? Look at this. Now look at the colour of those boats. They're beautiful. Look at the water there. Beautiful. But look at this. All down here, behind there. But the boats are fantastic to paint. It's a painter's paradise. And I said to Job, his name is Job, and he knew this. He said, on New Year's Day, out of reverence to his king, he said, I'm going to go and clean it up. And he went down there and cleaned it up. 10 days. And the people there, there are about 10 fishing families. They get a living out of catching crabs and shell and so forth down there. And they stood around and watched him. They thought he was mad at first, but then they saw that he was cleaning it up. And he said, I'm just cleaning it up. He said, this is for our country. We're going to keep our country clean. Plus, I'm an artist. I love nature. And I want to paint this. And my friend Bob wants to paint this. So I said, Job, I'll buy some more bags for you, and I'll go and help you carry the bags out, and so on. So I helped him do the clean-up work, but he did all the work. And so I said, and Graham said, why don't we try and get an appeal going for this? The police came along, and they promised to put a new rubbish bin in, but a rubbish bin just is a big plastic container with no box to it. So the dogs come and knock it over as quick as you fill it. So we need to get money to build a couple of concrete containers or some sort of steel structure to hold the rubbish tins.
How about when it gets clean, you do a painting of that scene?
Well, I want to do a paint. I said to Job, I'll come down and do a painting there, and maybe we sell the painting on the Facebook site to get a little bit of money to help keep this going. The people there are now proud of it. The people are now proud of what he's done, and they said, yes, we want to keep it clean. So we need to get the local authorities to support it by showing them if you spend maybe $300 a year, you can maintain this area as an area of attraction, not an area of abuse. We want to put a couple of park seats there you can sit on and look at the boats. The children can come down and play in the sand now. They can't walk over broken bottles and so forth. So, and I'm quite sure that this is in the bigger cove, in the bigger area, the bigger harbour. Once we get this right, it'll infect the other people. It's already come to the notice of the local authorities that we're doing this, and they know there's going to be a budget coming to them at some stage that they've got to supply to maintain the waterfront and to maintain the environment and the natural look. It's a beautiful spot. And look at the boats. I mean, what a painter's paradise. So go on my Facebook, go scroll down till you find this project, the Barn and Paw project. And I think we want $600 or something, which is nothing, $500, and we're right. So please, if you've got a moment, go down my Facebook, scroll down there till you find that project and have a look at it and see if you can donate $3, $5, $8, I don't care what it is, right? Just to help that and to help a little project. I don't normally do anything like this, but I will here because it's a painter's area. Right, so there we are. So what are we up to now, Graham? Up to
about 5 minutes left.
5 minutes for the auction?
No, 5 minutes
for the whole show. Yeah. So the painting's finished now?
No, in 20 minutes.
In 20 minutes the painting's finished. So that one there, think about it. If you want to buy it, buy it. It'll keep everything going here, and it also is something you should have. It really should have. Put a frame out, that looks great. And this one down here, let's keep on going. I'll do a little bit more here. Is there anything else I should be saying, Graham, at the moment?
No, that's pretty good.
I will just put a bit more aggressiveness in these colours. Now that we've found where the light is and so forth. Back down here again. go. Now we're starting to motor along, so to speak. And that,
Harold wants to know if we plan on doing any wildlife or nature paintings.
Harold, there's a lot of elephants around me here, and elephants are great to paint, I've got to tell you. So if I'm going to do a wildlife, I'd paint. I'll tell you what else is around. There's a zoo down the road which has got a lot of flamingos, and I love painting flamingos. So maybe we could do something one day where we just go there and come back with some photographs of flamingos. We need to find a place where we can put them though. But I've got some little streams around here which have got grass and reeds in them, and so we could possibly get some settings from just around here. Because flamingos are normally in a beachy area, and we got a beach only about 10 minutes away as well. So the settings here to use. Now I'm going to darken that face a little bit. The hair. Penny, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
Do you paint at night, and if so, do you paint on the same painting that you paint on during the day, or do you try to keep it in the same light?
No, I'll paint on this. I'll move. No, I generally, if I'm trying to get to the end of a painting, it doesn't really worry. I'll just go through night and day. So there's the dark under in there. I want to find that dark, Graham. So I'm going to a little bit of red. It's a skin dark, so it's in here.
Leslie wants to know, when you ship your paintings, do you send them rolled up or do you send them with stretchers?
I ship them rolled up.
Pamela wants to see you finish the face off, but
I won't finish it now off because there's no real like we mentioned before about faces. We don't want to say who this is. We want to leave that to the imagination of the viewer. In that way, we've got. You can see I'm just working the darks in here now, trying to find where those folds are. Now that's looking about right now. There's a dress comes up here. There's a hem. There's a waistline there, and this dark comes down in here like that. And there's another dark in there. So now we're finding this waistline here, and I'm just slowly working my way through. Now I'm using my naked vision now, but as I get down here, I'm able to find these folds. That one comes across there like that. It's quite an important one. I mean, there's the dress hem comes there, and down and then it's dark in there and dark there, and there's the bottom of it there.
Quick question from Jeffrey.
Jeffrey,
do you have a preference for short handle brushes?
Like the long. Well, this is I don't know what this is. This is a shortish handle, I suppose. But I like the ones with a nice length of hair to them, so they hold. This is a great brush. It holds the paint well, and I can chisel it. Right, in other words, I'll do this again. What I do is this, and you'll just see me do that, and then it just goes. I don't do that. I go like this. Bang there. Chisel it. Come back down. Wipe it. Roll it over. Wipe it. Come back up again.
Quick question from Robert. Do you prefer painting wet on wet?
Well, I'm used to painting wet on wet, but when you're doing big paintings, Robert, you can't. Because it might take 30, 40 hours to do a big painting, so you can't really do it like that. You just sort of go from one to the other. Okay, we'll see you again in about 3 days' time, or whatever it is, and I hope thanks for joining me. Remember that Ban and Per project that I talk about, cleaning up the harbour. See if you can donate a little bit for that. And we've got this
20
one
minutes.
Here. 5 minutes to go on the
20
minutes to go on this one. It's got, as I said, that is evidence of what I do, good and bad. Okay, but that is nuts and bolts painting using the mother colours, simple format, figures, highlights, ticks and dashes, and reflections, and it's just a piece of engineering. So remember that.
That can be found on your website or Facebook page.
That's on a Facebook page or a website, and there's a link there that takes you over to an auction page where you just put in whatever you want to put, and then off we go. And I'll dedicate it on the back, if whoever wants it, I'll say, listen, great painting, off we go. Bye-bye now, see you next time.